Hi, I'm Jeremy, and today I'm going to talk about a quick playing card game that plays in about 20 minutes for 1 to 4 players. This is DREIst. It's published by Ravensburger in Germany. The game, only comes with German rules, but I did post a translation of the rules on Board Game Geek, so you could download those. This is a quick game where players are going to be trying to play cards of various colors and numbers onto a set grid that runs from 1 to 8. The first player to get rid of all their cards is going to win. Let me take a minute to show you how the game plays out, and then I'll come back and give you my thoughts on it. Okay, so this is what a game of DREIst in progress might look like, and we've set it up as a 2-player game. This is a game where players are going to be playing cards to this grid, essentially trying to be the first player to get rid of their stack of cards. So there's 96 number cards in the game in 4 different suits, and you'll divide those up equally among the number of players. The game goes up to 4 players. So here in a 2-player game, each player has taken half, and on your turn, what you're going to do is you're going to draw up to 5 cards at the end of your turn, so you'll have 5 cards in your hand, and then the idea is to play as many of those as you can. And you have to follow the rule that, so let's say I have this 4, I could place this 4 in the 4 column, and then the cards are going to create rows, and you'll notice that whenever cards are placed next to each other in a row, they have to be of the same color. So here we have a 1, 2, and that's fine, they're both of the same color. If I had a 3, I would not be able to place it here because no 3 would be both blue and red at the same time. And it's okay as you build columns down here to start rows, and it's okay to start new columns. The catch is that if you are ever starting a column or a row by itself, so let's say these 2 cards weren't here, you have to play at least 2 cards in order to do that. So I'd have to do, a 1 and a 2, or 2 or more. And if I wanted to do 2 cards in a column where there weren't any, again, I'd have to play at least 2 to start off that column. And again, you would not be able to do that if you created a conflict with cards that were already there. So if you did not meet the color of the row. Of course, here we have many different colors in this first row, and that's fine as long as each unique color is separated by at least 1 space. So red's here, but again, here we cannot have something that would break that rule. So over the course of your turn, you're just going to be playing cards like that. If ever you add, here I have a red 4, if ever you add a card to a row so that you have, a card to the column so that you have 3 unique colors in that column, all of that column will go away, and you just get discarded out of the game. And then any card that does not have cards connecting it back to the top row will also get discarded out. So that 5 and that 3 will be gone. This game is called DREIst, and this is called a dryer. So it's a 3er, I guess, because you've made 3 colors within a column. Whenever you do that, the first time you do it on your turn, you're required to pick up an additional card. Every other time you do it during a turn, you have the option to pick up a card or not. So now I'd be left with these cards that I'm trying to play. I could continue my turn. So here I could put this yellow 8 next to this yellow 7. That's fine. Here I have 2 5s, so I could start a new column with them. And then here I have a 2. I could add this to the 2 column because there's already 1, 2 there, so you could just extend that row. There I've gotten rid of all my cards. Whenever you do that, you get to take the top 2 cards off of your deck, your draw deck, and distribute that to other players. This is a 2-player game, so the second player would just get those. Now I'm out of cards. I would be able to draw back up to 5. So on this player's turn, they would then be able to play. If ever you had no legal moves or couldn't move on your turn, you'd be able to discard 1 card out and then just draw back up to 5, and that would be your entire turn. The other thing that you could do on your turn, so let's say it's still this player's turn, is let's say they play this 4, and then they play this 3. This would create a 3er because you've made a chain of 3 or more cards within the row. They would again have to do a mandatory draw of a card. And unlike when you create a 3er in a column, when you create a 3er in a row, you do not remove the card, so those cards would stay there. So they would just be able to continue their turn. They could play this 8 here off this other 8 because there's no color set there. They have this 3-4-5, which unfortunately they won't be able to play here because they or 3-4-3, I guess. Yeah, they can't play here because they would not be able to place a purple card here next to a yellow card. So they'd be stuck, I think, with these 2 3s, but this 4-5 would be legal. So this player would have 2 cards left, and they would just draw up 3 to end their turn. And the game's just going to go like this, back and forth, until one player gets rid of all their cards, and that player will be the winner. The game also suggests playing a number of rounds equal to the number of players, with each player starting a round, and then at the end of each round tallying up the number of cards that you have left in your hand or draw pile. The person with the lowest sum of cards over the number of rounds that are played would also be the winner in that variant. Alright, so that is DREIst. And this is, a really cute little fun card game that, plays really well in 20 minutes or so. And it's interesting because you only get 5 cards dealt to you each round, or you draw 5 cards, I suppose, each round, and it's your task to figure out how to play those as best as you can. And what's interesting is that most of the time in this game you're going to have a move or multiple moves, and you could set up chains of cards. You can when you create a set of 3, you have the decision of whether or not you want to draw a card after the first time you do that during a turn. So you could get really long turns going if you're lucky and skillful, or you could just try to get all of your cards out of your hand so that you could give 2 cards away to an opponent. So there's this interesting press your luck element in it. The worst thing that could happen is you draw a card and then end up being stuck with that as the only card in your hand at the end of the turn. And the game, it reminds me of another German game by the name of Elfer, and this game I think is a family classic in Germany along the lines of Uno, and that similarly, I think as you can see on here, has you playing colored cards along a grid. But in that one you're a lot more constrained about where those cards can go. Essentially there's a line of 21 and in 4 colors, and you can only add to those lines. So it's very strict, but here, because of the way that you could build down and around, and since there's only 8 possible cards, you are more likely to draw a useful card on your turn. So it's really just a simple game. You're going to be just trying to get rid of cards as quickly as possible, whether that's through giving away to other players, playing them to the board, or just discarding them. And the game is easy to teach, it's easy to pick up on. Players will immediately understand what the goal is, and I think it plays really well. I will note that there is a solitaire variant in here where you're essentially just playing against a deck of cards. Essentially all that means is that you set up a deck of cards and you'll draw draw until that deck can place 2 each turn, meanwhile trying to get through your deck as fast as possible. And if you could complete your deck before that deck runs out, you would win. There's some scoring involved in that, and you can see how well you've done, but ultimately I think that's a side attraction. This is just a nice, fun, interactive card game that you'll probably enjoy playing with families or with casual gamers. So that is DREIst, and thanks for watching.